your mind.
Hello and welcome to Open Your Mind Radio. You have myself, Alan James.
And myself, Stephen George. Good evening.
Good evening. It's Sunday the 23rd of July 2017. And I'd just like to say for myself and Steve, happy anniversary. It's 7 years, Steve. OYM is on the air 7 years. Would you believe that?
And they said it wouldn't last.
It's lasted longer than some marriages that went on.
Absolutely.
Right, okay. Our guests on the show tonight is a lady called Ariel Policano and Ryan Williams. And Ryan is the developer of the Genius software. And Ariel uses the software on a regular basis. And I have a copy of the software on my phone, funny enough, and I've been playing around with the software. So we're going to be talking about that. Now, the software is basically uses the same principle of quantum entanglement, a bit like the spooky, but based on frequency. But we'll talk to Ryan and Ariel about that shortly when we get them on. But first, we'll find out what the communication channels are.
Yes, communication channels this evening.
The communication channels are email info@oymireland.com, by phone 046 927 1212, and you can also contact us direct through the OYM chat room.
Yes, the phone number again, 046 927 1212. Or if you call from outside the Republic of Ireland, it's going to be 00353 469 271212. As we do say, it is an internet-based phone service, so if at first you don't succeed, do try again. We also have the chat room as well, oymradio.com. You will see the link there for the chat room. A big hi to everyone who is already logged in. Also, People's Internet Radio chat room as well. We're going to be monitoring both of the chat rooms there for your questions, and a big hi to everyone. You're all very welcome this beautiful evening here in Ireland. Well, in the Midlands anyway. So you're all very welcome. We also have on the website there, oymradio.com. You will see the link for the anti-social media, which is Facebook. You will also see the link for the YouTube channel and also for the email. If you'd like to drop us an email, please do so. OYM or info@oymradio.com is the email address, and we'd love to just get a quick one-line email just to say hi. Let us know if you're a first-time listener, a long-term listener, where you're listening from. We always like to get those kind of emails, and we also have the TuneIn Radio app, the link there also on the website, so you can stick that on your iPhone, your smartphone, and you can listen to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There we go. Alan's writing something, so I'll just keep talking.
No. You're up anyway, so you might as well kick us off.
Okay. BreakingNews.ie reports no jail for revenue official who pocketed almost €20,000 in motoring fines. A revenue official who stole nearly $20,000 from the state over the course of a year by pocketing motoring fines has been given a suspended sentence today. John, also known as Anthony Kelly, age 41, was an executive officer with the Revenue, responsible for collecting fines from motorists who had not paid vehicle registration tax, the VRT. Dublin Circuit Criminal Court heard that the motorists caught by Gardaí without VRT had their cars seized and would have to meet up with Mr. Kelly to pay a fine in order to get their vehicle back. Mr. Kelly would then keep the fine all to himself. Counsel for Mr. Kelly said he had overextended himself financially during the Celtic Tiger era and needed the money to repay loans and also to fund medical procedures to help himself and his wife conceive a child. Well, isn't that's just it's great, really.
Brilliant,
I mean, suspended sentence.
Two-tier system again, judicial system.
Absolutely.
You know, the people get off with it, and then if you don't pay your TV licence, then you go to jail. You know, it's the level of corruption in this country is just unreal, and it just gets worse and worse. It's a cesspit. It really is a cesspit. And even Boyd Barrett was up. I seen a video earlier on with Boyd Barrett talking about the cesspit of corruption and how clicky it is. And a group of elites within the elites called the benchers, apparently. And it's got to do with judges and barristers and how they all are. It's all very clicky and organised. It's unbelievable. It really is a cesspit. And I don't have a solution for you. I really don't. Apart from a revolution, don't have a solution for you. Anyway. Now, the independent.co.uk Consumers deny chance to bring 14 billion class action against MasterCard for alleged overcharging. Case alleged that the company's fees effectively resulted in consumers paying higher prices to businesses that accepted MasterCard over a 16-year period. So isn't that unbelievable? Consumers deny chance to bring 14 billion class action against MasterCard because of overcharging. You know, I mean, you wouldn't believe it. You really, really wouldn't believe it, how bad things are when things like that are happening. And there's so much. Every week we go through the information that comes in, and we could be talking about this stuff all night, the level of corruption and abuse of the system. It's unbelievable, but, you know, we'd be here all night talking about that if, you know, and we wouldn't need to bring the guests on with the level of corruption that's going on. But look, you know, we just touched base on a few things anyway. How's your week?
Yeah, my week's been fine. Not too much to report. I do have a little bit of news in relation to last week. I mentioned the credit union and moving bank accounts, closing bank accounts because of increased bank charges. Bank charges are in the permanent TSB here in Ireland are going to be increasing in September from, I think it's €3 something per quarter to €18 per quarter. So we've been looking into credit union in moving everything basically lock, stock and barrel into the credit union. So my wife was down there recently and she spoke with one of the representatives, and she wanted to find out that if we were to move everything over to them, set up direct debits in order to pay what we need to pay, and kind of do some online banking as well, do they have any charges? Now, I know, Alan, you said about the card that they have as well, which will work in, I think it's AIB.
That's right.
ATMs.
Yeah.
She did say that there were no charges at the moment, and she couldn't foresee any charges coming in, but, you know, she obviously can't predict the future either. So that's going to be something that we're going to be looking into over, well, not looking into it, we're going to be doing it over the next couple of weeks, is closing the bank account, moving everything, wages automatically will be going into credit union. We'll set up the direct debits for the usual culprits, you know, like the utilities. So that's going to be set up there, and obviously the mortgage will be paid from the credit union as well. So no charges, and of course one less customer for the bank. So looking forward to that. And
obviously the swirl card.
The swirl, yeah, I couldn't think of the name. The swirl card.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Swizz, and I'm going, no, it's not Swizz. Don't say Swizz. And I said it. Mm.
Yeah, no, the swirl card. It's just another little thing that people can have if they need to pay things online. You know.
Yeah. No, so I say we're going to go ahead with that. We will have, obviously, when we do it, we'll have a full report and let you all know. But if anyone, in the meantime, if anyone else out there knows more information in relation to using the credit union for your day-to-day banking, again, info@oymradio.com is the email. Drop us a quick one and just let us know. The only other thing I want to report is something that we spoke of a long time ago here, liposomal vitamin C. Is very beneficial. It's a fantastic way to actually take vitamin C. And where is the study? I had a study here. I've closed it. No, hang on a second. Yeah, a study in relation to liposomal. It says chemotherapy may be obsolete. We know there's loads of different cures for cancers, and we're going to be obviously touching base with that with our guest this evening. But they're saying in mainstream that chemotherapy may be obsolete because of a thing called ceramide nanoliposome. Essentially, it uses liposomal delivery to target and kill cancer cells without harming healthy cells. This is new information, straight kind of hot off the press here since the 20th of July. And it's just basically says that they've kind of developed this thing whereby they can get these little nano liposomes into the system, and it will actually just go target the cancer cell, drop its payload inside the cell. The cell will die. The only effect that it will have on the healthy cells is they will go to sleep. It won't kill the healthy cells. They will simply go to sleep. So obviously, they will wake up at some point in time. There's a lot of information. There's too much information to actually go into. So what I'll do is I will just pop a link in the chat rooms, and you can check it out at your leisure. That's it from my week. How was your week?
Brilliant. Okay, well, before we get Ariel and Ryan in, just a couple of things. Now, I did a big tidy up on the comments on YouTube, and to be honest with you, I couldn't believe the amount of comments held in the spam folder that was just pure crap. Let's be honest about it. People trying to use their Air channel to promote their own channels, websites, products, plus trolls and shills. And you know, most of them have been deleted now. Constructive criticism is always allowed, but bad language and insults will be deleted on any comments that come in on YouTube. And if I see them, they will be deleted, to be honest with you. I don't know why people waste their time putting comments like that, because any comments that made on YouTube, it comes straight into me on YouTube, and if I see it and don't like it, I delete it. So I don't know why you waste your time. I really don't. Anyway, the other thing on my list was, I'd just like to thank my brother-in-law and my sister, who came up and we did some bartering. See, now, hear them phones ringing.
Yes.
Right? Them phones aren't going to be ringing. Right, I'm not going to answer them phones. The phone number that comes in on, we've two phones here in the studio. We have a house phone and we have a studio phone. And one number is 1018 and the other number is 1019. Now, I did pick it up during the week and there's nothing there. So there's something going on. So if anybody else has phones ringing and it comes up with 1018 or 1019 or similar numbers, there's something going on. That's the third time that has happened this week.
Okay.
You know, so there's something going on. Anyway, so again, I'd like to thank my brother-in-law and my sister for coming up. They're tuning into the show and helping out. We're getting a bit of work done around the house and stuff like that. We're just doing a bit of bartering. So that's fantastic. And we're nearly there. A few more things to do and we should be there. Now, because money is scarce, people don't have the money, but we can barter, we have the energy. That's what time banking's all about. So we can share skills and swap skills and all that kind of thing. Also, I'd like to thank my sister because my sister works in the travel industry. And there's a lot of international travellers that come and go in her line of work. And what happens is, obviously these travellers sometimes leave things behind or they're lost and all that kind of stuff. You know, people just forget things. And it goes to the lost property department in her company. And what happens is the lost property department will keep the item for 3 months and 1 day. I don't know why it's 1 day, but it's 3 months and 1 day. And then the company policy is that if after 3 months and 1 day, it's not collected, then the person who put it into the lost property gets the item. That's the company policy. All right. Now, I had a rant on Facebook, as people might have seen if you go on Facebook, about Apple, because my sister inherited an Apple iPad, right? It's an older version of the iPad, but she inherited an Apple iPad. And the problem is that it has an activation lock on it. So I contacted Apple, because in Apple's world, for years, being involved in IT for years, I've always said to people, don't go near Apple products, don't buy them. They are too expensive, and when they break, you're just going to have major problems trying to get support and maintenance and all that kind of stuff, and the hassle. And plus the fact that as the world is going to open source technology and open source software, when you ring up Apple and try and get the device deactivated, even if you own the device, unless you can prove that you own the device, they won't do anything. Now, unfortunately, in Apple's world, the world is black and white. But Apple don't live in the real world, because the real world is grey. And the reason why I say that is because a typical example of what has happened is that my sister now inherited the iPad, which she kindly gave to me. And I'm having a look at it, and it has an activation lock. And I said, right, okay, well, look, you know, this person's lost it. So I contacted Apple and I said, Apple, here's the serial number. Will you go and find out who owns this Apple iPad and give them my details and get them to tell them that I have their iPad and to contact me, and then we can email each other, and if they want it back, I'll send it back to them. No problem at all. And we can sort it out. And Apple said, oh no, you can't do that. And I said, why can't you do that? Oh, it's an invasion of privacy. We can't go and communicate with them. Right?
You serious?
Yeah, I'm serious, right?
Even to return the property to this person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So then I said, right, okay, so I'm trying to do the right thing, and even after 3 months, and Apple said no. So they said, if you give it to an Apple store, we will do our best to see what we can do to contact the owner of the iPad. And I said, well, to be honest with you, I actually don't like that, because you could give the iPad to an Apple store, and you could go back and they go, oh yeah, we found the owner and we sent it back to them. And they probably won't. They might keep it themselves and get it unlocked, right? So the owner won't get it, right? And I'm not trusting, I'm just not trusting. So, and I said, right, okay, so if I give you the Apple iPad and you try and track down the owner and you don't find the owner, obviously you're going to give it back to me, can you unlock it then? And they said, oh no, we can't unlock it. So that means that you have this technology that's a few €100, and it's a brick, basically. It's useless. And you won't unlock it, even though if you can't find the owner. And they said, no, the owner has to log out of this iCloud. And I said, well, what if the owner has died? What if the owner has moved away and decided to go on the Android platform because they've realised Apple are crap? Or a number of other excuses of people why they wouldn't log out of the cloud, because this was registered in 2012, right?
Yeah.
And it was lost for 3 months. You would think the owner would have logged out of the cloud by now. So there was just something going on if they're not logged out of the cloud. So there you go. So we now have an Apple iPad and it has an activation lock on it, and we can't remove it. And I don't trust Apple because, it'll probably disappear and we'll never see it again. And I'd rather deal with the owner direct and say it to them. So that's Apple for you. So basically, there is a company in the UK which I'm going to be communicating with during the week, who apparently can say that in most cases they can unlock the Apple iPad and we can get it up and running. And in that case, that's fine. We could use it. But just a word of advice for people is to stay away from Apple. In all honesty, for years I've said to the people, Apple computers, the New World Order is alive and well with Apple. And they'll say, oh, it's all got to do with security. No, it's got to do with control. When you buy a car, Steve, what if you bought a car off me and you said, yeah, I'm going to change the exhaust and I want to put new wheels on? I said, no, you can't do that.
You'd be right, I can't because I haven't got the money.
Yeah, no.
No, but imagine you can't do that. I'm sorry. If you buy something and you pay for it, you hand over the money. Okay, the intellectual property in the software, okay, that's belonged to Apple. But the physical device itself, if you buy it, it's yours. Mm. There's black and white.
Now, if you look at, there's a program on TV on the Travel Channel called Baggage Wars. And the airlines, when they have baggage that is lost and it's unclaimed, they put it in an auction and people, bid on it and they win it. And sometimes they open up the bag because they don't know what's in the bag. Yeah. So they take a gamble. They open up the bag, could be an iPad in it, right? There's a legitimate scenario again. Yeah. So they ring up and say, right, I need, this got lost. And Apple's like, no, can't do anything about that, sorry. That is just ridiculous. So I'm just advising people now, in all honesty, and I've been saying it for years, I don't touch Apple. And if anybody comes to me with an Apple device, I say no, I don't go near them. Okay? The only way Apple are going to learn to stop this is if you don't buy their products. They're overrated, they're too expensive, and to be honest with you, the Android will do as much as the Apple can do. I don't know why people even buy Apple products. Yes, I know graphic designers use the Apple computers for that, and that's fine, if you want to use them for that. But it's not so much about the usage of the device, it's the issues that you'll have when you have problems or tech support issues. That's the issue with the Apple device. So just be aware of that if you're going to be buying equipment. And if anybody knows, by the way, how to get the activation lock off, contact me, please. And because there might be another, you never know, there could be more iPads in the waiting coming my way. I don't know. And it'd be good to know how to take it off and have one up for the man as we speak. Anyway.
Did he ever find cars in that lost and found? I could do with a new one.
No, not
cars.
That was
you could as well, couldn't you?
Yeah, yeah, you're right there. I do see adverts on Facebook very quickly, and people saying my car's been stolen. Have anybody seen this car? And I was tempted to put a picture of my car up, and my car's still here. Nobody wants to nick it.
Actually, very quickly, as well. Remember that scam that you spoke of a couple of years ago, where people are meeting you to buy a car, and then they say, well, the car's not here at the moment, but there's the keys or whatever, and I'll just go in, I'll go and I'll get the car, and then they jump into their own car and they shoot off. Yeah. That's happened again. That happened again about 2 weeks ago, not very far from where I am. I think my wife, she said, I must tell Alan about that. So she probably fit in. But yeah, it's not, if you're going to be buying a car, make sure you know who you're actually dealing with, check them out beforehand. And let the buyer beware, as I say, do not hand over any money until you have the logbook and the keys and the car in your possession. But
the other scam is that they'll get in the car, you'll sit in the passenger seat, and they'll get in the car with you. And this is organised gang, by the way. And they'll actually drive down the road, they'll take out a gun or whatever, or a knife, and say, get out of the car.
Jesus.
So that was in the paper there during the week. It's happened to a few people. There are cars to order for certain people in Dublin that want the parts. Okay, so just please, if you're selling your car or buying a car, just be very careful. It's such a dodgy business with cars. Try and buy off a reputable garage or a friend or somebody you know. Dodgy deal, I wouldn't touch them with a barge pole, okay? Just be on your guard. Right, okay, let's bring in our guests. Right, Steve, over to you. You've got the bios there.
Yes, I do have the bios of our guests this evening. Very long bios, I might add. Yes. You want to get your money's worth out, so you do. Anyway, we have Ariel, Policano and Ryan Williams. Ariel's bio is, Ariel is a naturopathic doctor practicing in Portland, Oregon. She received her degree from the National University of Natural Medicine in Portland and has over 10 years of experience as a naturopath. Ariel specializes in research about energy and frequency medicine. She has taught classes on energy medicine since 2013 and has done research and training in the Genius Insight biofeedback software. The Vector Complete Body Scan, the GB2000 and the Bermer. She does classes and workshops in person and online on a regular basis and is available for consultations. Ryan is a pioneer in the biofeedback industry. As a child requiring speech therapy, Ryan has always been interested in biofeedback as a treatment technique. From being a patient to becoming a practitioner, Ryan has witnessed the tremendous results biofeedback can offer. Over the past 20 years, Ryan has become a leader in his industry, from biofeedback device training, distribution and manufacturing to biofeedback app development. Ryan brings a unique blend of skills and experience to the industry. His vast expertise in FDA compliance and online marketing are well sought after within the industry. His work experience includes army service in his native South Africa, university work in production engineering, entrepreneurship, and several years as a wellness practitioner in Canada, the UK, and South Africa. As a minister, Ryan was under a guided meditation seeking answers and a meaning to his life. While on the meditation, God spoke to Ryan and gifted him the tools and knowledge to create the world's first voice analysis app called the Quantum iLife/iInfinity app. You give me those big words again. It took Ryan over 8 months of working with designers and engineers to create the first beta version. Since the first Quantum iLife/Infinity app, Ryan has gone on to produce over 30 customized app solutions based upon his principle of interactive biofeedback apps. His flagship app is called the Genius Insight app. Now,
fantastic.
I'm exhausted after that.
Good evening, Ariel and Ryan. How are you doing?
Good evening. Good, thanks. You guys actually did pretty well with those pronunciations, so congratulations to you.
Thanks very much. Cheers. I've been practicing all week.
Ariel, are you there?
Yes.
Great stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Brilliant stuff. Now, before we crack on, we have a little a treat for Ryan.
Oh, I like it.
Right, I believe it's your birthday, Ryan, and where you should be celebrating your on-air show.
That is correct, and it's actually my birthday on Tuesday, but everyone's going to be now away, and then we're having that's
Oh, that's going to be a problem. Ryan, you completely broke up there. I didn't hear a word you said there. Do you want to repeat that again?
Yeah, sure. I was just saying, I've got friends and family down at the beach, so my birthday is actually on Tuesday, but certainly thank you very much for the early birthday wishes.
That's okay, no problem.
We'll ring you back Tuesday.
and we'll do it again. Now, I just want to let our listeners know that we are having a few Skype issues for some reason. Now, the Skype, everybody's Skype is good quality. As to why it's breaking up, we don't know. So, let's see how we get on with the interview anyway. Right. So we're going to get into it now. Some people have heard about this Genius app that's going around, and I've seen a number of comments on Facebook of people being a bit concerned about it. Now, we will get into that and talk about that. But first and foremost, as Ryan is the developer and Ariel is the user, we're going to speak to Ryan first about how it came about, his background, and what it does, and describe the software. And then we'll get into how Ariel will use it on a day-to-day basis, how she uses it, and what she does in her practice. So Ryan, if you want to start us off with your background in obviously the programming and how you got to know about this technology and developing the Genius software.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if I can sort of address each. I'll certainly tell you some of my thought processes, and I think it sort of goes back to my involvement in this industry, which was probably, I'm guessing, maybe 16 or 17 years ago. During, sort of 16, 17 years ago is where computers really came to the forefront of us as a sort of human population. That's when the internet cafes opened, all the internet shops, and your typical home computer was becoming very much, sort of widely accepted. And at that time, when we were all learning about computers, there was this new technology that came out. It was a bioenergetic assessment, which basically used a hardware component attached to a computer. It used a principle of bioresonance, and it was able to determine certain imbalances in the body. So I'm going back, probably sort of 15, 16 years ago. So, what's really exciting is that this industry, in terms of, computerized sort of analysis, is actually really exciting. So, fast forward. The first, so that was, sort of 15, 16, sort of 17 years ago. And I think, what happens is, as you get involved in an industry, things change, and you as a sort of individual, begin to progress in your own, personal endeavors and your own career achievements or whatever it is. To make a long story short, around 2011, 2012, as my bio said, I was actually in a guided meditation, and it really dawned on me on how we could take one of these quantum biofeedback products that we were selling and find a way that we could condense it into an app. Now, I'll be real candid with you. The reason for doing it was sort of two-part. The first part, during that time, there was a major economic sort of slump. And, the reality is, people didn't have the $15,000, $20,000 like they used to have. So, there certainly was a sort of financial or a sort of marketing idea that we were busy exploring. But, because I've been involved in this industry for so long, understanding the cost of, production, the hardware costs and the software costs and that kind of stuff, really I just felt that we could provide a much more affordable solution at under $1,000 that could do the same kind of, or offer the same kind of, applications that a lot of these $15,000 to $20,000 products offered. And that was really the sort of, like the two-pronged sort of idea that we had, moving forward. It took us about 8 or 9 months to come out with the first version of the app, and we came out with it. After 8 months of development, I had a jolly good, $20 to my name in my bank account, and I figured, hey, you know what? It's either this or broke, and we launched it on Memorial Day. I think we finished everything like 4:00 in the morning. We put the email out, and everything came together. It's still very much a sort of work in process. Something which I really enjoy about this industry, as much as what I'll say.
Okay, we lost.
What's been really cool is we have so many people out there. Oh.
Sorry, just say that again. Yeah, you just every now and again you just drop out. Go ahead.
For sure. I was just saying, to me, what's really exciting is that we have such a wide user group of so many different varying practitioners. And really, it's not my technology or my company's technology anymore. It's really the community's technology, because the feedback we get from the practitioners and the people using this in an everyday environment helps us decide on the next version, on the next software update. So from that side, it's been a very, sort of collaborative effort.
Excellent, brilliant. And the whole idea for people who don't know about the Genius software, it's all based on frequencies. Now, we know that everything is a frequency. We've talked about the Spooky 2 in the show, and we talked about Royal Raymond Rife and how he used frequencies to heal and cure cancer. Now, your Genius software, again, is based on frequencies. Do you want to tell us in a kind of very basic way how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, what's first and foremost to agree and understand is that, everything does have its own sort of energetic signature or its sort of energetic frequency. So really, the sort of synapses of our technology is that, what we are trying to do is that we want to remind the body, or we want to stimulate the body's own innate healing ability. In other words, a lot of technology is like very powerful, and you can feel the therapies and you can feel the frequencies. And in doing that, it's actually overriding your body's natural defense system. Our technology is completely different. In other words, in our database of, thousands and thousands of different energetic signatures and frequencies, they are very subtle. Now, the reason why they're subtle is for the simple reason that when we feed these frequencies back into the body, instead of trying to override the body's natural defense system, we're trying to sort of pull, or we're trying to remind the body what a good frequency is and what a bad frequency is. Because the reality is, our bodies are one of the most phenomenal, in terms of the complexities of our body, the ability to self-heal, the ability to self-regulate is something that all of us are still trying to understand. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to work within that realm. We are trying to tickle the body. What, this is a good frequency, this is a good frequency. As soon as the body remembers that, the body basically takes over and can basically take charge of their own health. And that's really what we want to do. We want to help the clients take control of their own health. We want to stimulate their body's own innate healing ability.
Okay, well, I'm going to try and explain it as best I can in a simplistic way for the listeners, because if the listeners haven't seen the software or used it. Now, as I say, we all resonate on a frequency. Everything has a frequency. And what happens is that from a user's point of view, when you go in for the first time, it's based on, you're asked to do a speech sample. So you give a sample of speech, and then you have a photo of yourself or the person, and then you have a kind of positive word. And if you combine the three of them together, you get a unique frequency for that person. So when you do the scan, the database of all the frequencies you have of the symptoms looks at the frequency that the person's just put together, and then sends them frequencies, compares to what's wrong with the person and that frequency to the database, and then the database frequencies will be sent over to that person in a very subtle way to start kind of topping up by the healing process. Does that kind of explain it? Well, I'm explaining it from a user point of view.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Right, okay. Well, that's basically it. So what happens is, so our body changes and our cells change on a daily, hourly, minute basis. So one day you'll scan yourself and you might be okay. Then, you might have a few things, and the next day there might be something different because you might be angry or down or upset or whatever, and our body changes to show that. So the idea is that you'll have this app on your phone or on your tablet, and then every day what you do is you scan yourself, and the things that come up, say in red and blue, you'll say, okay, they're the things that need to be treated today. So you add them to your basket, and then you run the actual frequencies, and it's a 15-minute frequency, and you hear all these tones going up and down, and they're all the different frequencies. And again, through quantum entanglement, like I could treat Steve. He doesn't have to be here. He could be in work doing his bit. Because I have his speech analysed, and I have that in the actual database, he doesn't need to be here. It'll actually be able to treat him through quantum entanglement. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Right, okay. So that's it, folks. So basically, it's not kind of something that, I've got my leg hurts and I'm going to use the Genius to treat the pain in the leg and expect it to be the pain to go in a few minutes after treatment. The product doesn't do that. It's not for that. It's more of a kind of subtle and gentle treatment of the body over a period of time. Would that be correct?
That is, yeah.
Right. Okay, brilliant. Well, what I'll do is I'll bring in Ariel now. And Ariel, if you can tell us, because you're using the Genius on a regular basis with your patients, can you tell us how you use it and what you do and your successes that you've had with it?
It's important to understand that I use it as an adjunct and that I use it as a research tool. And I've also been training people about the Genius since its inception. So I give regular ongoing classes to educate people about what it is, how to use it. But as such, my first engagement with this was being absolutely fascinated about how much it matched the patterns of what I knew was going on with me and what I knew was going on with my patients. But the really important thing is to know that it's not a diagnosis. I don't use it as a diagnostic. I use it as a guide. And what is important to me is that the level of empowerment that it gives other people. So the user who decides that they want to get it even though they're not a practitioner, because there is value in increasing that relationship they have with themselves, which can be incredibly enhanced through the interaction with the Genius software.
And give us an example. So say a patient comes into you and says, Ariel, I have a pain in my back, which is kind of a regular thing. A lot of people have pains in their back and they can't really pinpoint what the pain is, but you'll just kind of say, well, it's around a certain area. What would you do? What would be your process with the Genius to try and help them?
Well, as I just said, I use it as an adjunct and a research tool, so it's not my main form of diagnosis. I'm going to use all the other things that I use. I'm going to do a history. I'm going to find out if they've had injuries. I'm going to do an examination. And then as an adjunct, I will be curious to know if some of the things in the spinal energy panel match what is going on with the blockages that cognitively I would guess would be out of balance. And sure enough, there often is a very high correlation there.
Yeah, well, yeah, as you say, it helps you as well to confirm if they have a problem in the back. The Genius will come up and hopefully show you something in that location, in that area. Now, something that we've obviously been told, because we use ourselves, we use the Pain Genie and we're testing out Spooky too, is that Herring's Law, who was a homeopath in the 1800s, states that you heal from the head down, the organs outwards and back in time. So the Genius is kind of subtle treatment. Is there any way that the Genius can be used as I know you said you can't really use it as a diagnosis, but it might give you a hint of something that's going on.
That is how I use it. That's just going to definitely improve if I look across a landscape of things. Again, things I've been thinking about are going to be confirmed often, although I will confirm it still with a lab test. Again, this is really important for the individual who has no other means often of between very expensive doctor visits having any idea where they are in time and space, energetically, which often reflects them physically. Here, they're able to improve that relationship by gaining new information. And this has a tremendous amount of value, as I say.
Okay, and obviously preventative maintenance is much more beneficial for people rather than waiting for something to happen. You can download the software for a trial for free. By the way, I want to say to people as well, this is not kind of a product plug interview on the product. Myself and Steve always look at products, and we always say, put your money where your mouth is, as we did with Richard Cumbers with the Pain Genie, and as we did with John White with the Spooky, and as we said to Ariel and Ryan, and they kindly gifted us access to the software to play around with it and try it. And I think if you had something on your phone or your tablet, a software program that you could actually run once a day for 15 minutes only, and you don't even have to be there. You know, if you could be doing stuff, you could be in work and you go to lunch, you could have that running while you're on lunch, or you could be at night time in bed, whatever. And it's gently taking care of treating certain issues that you might have on a subtle level. I think to me, that would be a good idea. Would you religiously? I think you'd have to do it on a daily basis to get the maximum benefit out of it. Ryan, just back over to you. With the program, is there any way that the software can be see, it's very hard, isn't it? Because every day you change. That was one of my initial questions, I think. When I started using the Genius software, going through the process of doing the voice sample and then the photo and stuff. And then I think, Ryan, you said, well, you can bypass that in Ariel. You can just press skip, and you can just do an actual analysis of your body and then run the actual software. So I was just thinking, if it was an automated process that you could run it on a daily basis without having to interact, like on a timer, or a way that will just go off and do the scan and then run it, that might be a good idea. Is that possible, Ryan?
You know, the good thing is, with software, possible. And, we probably spend, realistically on both the Android as well as from about 60 to 80 hours of programming each and sort of every week. So in terms of making those changes, can we do them? Yes, absolutely. We've got a beta group, I think of about 68 to about 78 different beta group testers. We have suggestions like this. We'll reach out to the beta group. We'll get their feedback. We'll build the software. We'll send it to the beta group first. They'll run a whole bunch of, different tests and hopefully be able to and then we fix it up and then we can actually sort of make the release. As of about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, we created a really cool a sort of balance all feature, which is not really similar to what you have, but it's along the lines of what you are looking for, where you get to sort of each and every page and you just push one button, and then what it does, it just automatically balance the highest items and then the lowest items, because obviously for the users, they can't really visualize what it is I'm trying to explain.
You just
the higher numbers and the lower numbers.
Yeah, just repeat that again, Ryan, because again you're breaking up.
Sure. And the lower numbers indicate a cause of... Sure, but... Okay, the higher numbers and the lower numbers indicate a cause of probability or a cause of disturbance. So the latest update we did, it automatically will balance those items that are high and those items that are low, without the user having to manually do a whole bunch of different actions to be able to achieve that.
Okay, and can you talk about any successes? I know it's very difficult because it's not it's not kind of a device or program where 1 minute somebody has a disease and you run the program and then they're cured. It's not really for that. It's more got to do with again, a subtle treatment of your body over a period of time. But do you have any examples between yourself and Ariel as to any successes or any feedback from people who have used it and they've made a noticeable difference or improvement in their health?
You know, we hear from the users all the time that they used it and their blood pressure went down. They used it and their pain decreased, sometimes excruciating pain. They used it and it helped one of their animals, a dog or a cat. So, but this is not, you know, this is because they're using the program in the way that it's intended to. They're, you know, reducing the reactivity by running the frequencies. But what results people will have will really vary from person to person. It's all about increasing information, and this is information that has a very high probability of making a shift, allowing them, facilitating them, being a catalyst for them making a shift within themselves.
Yeah. Well, one thing I actually called it, and I think a good example would be a tricorder from Star Trek, because not so much you're analysing the body and standing over somebody, but what you're doing is you're scanning your own body with the software, and obviously then running a diagnosis and then running subtle healing on your body. And so I'd call it, so if people remember the tricorder, I'd kind of relate it to that as a near enough kind of idea how it works.
Well, Alan, I mean, I really do appreciate that, but we want to just be really super careful about how we kind of talk about and represent the software. Now, you're not far off at all, but we really just want to be sort of specific to the energy field. We're really scanning the energy field, and we're talking about reactivity. So again, you've been really great about this. It's not diagnostic to the body. It's not like an MRI. We are looking at the energy field, which is quite different from looking at the body, but can have some correlation.
Well, I did notice on the software that you're not only doing the obvious things, but you're also dealing with the likes of chakras and emotions and energy, and not just the physical body itself.
Certainly, absolutely.
Which I think is important, because maybe the other devices on the market that we talked about will deal with the physical, but I think it's the first one I've seen that actually deals with the emotional and the chakras and your spiritual protection, and all that is kind of included in the software, which I found very interesting.
Yeah, everything is information. Everything in there is about increasing information. And the algorithms that Ryan has been able to come up with, these are things that have a high probability of significance for that person based on their voice. And when they run the frequencies, they increase this information flow that is meant to create more harmony and thus more vitality within them. It's a very exciting process, and the best thing for people to do if they're listening is to download it for 14 days, even if you think you might never interact with it again, and just, there's no credit card required. Just try it for yourself. It's such a fascinating process to do, record your voice and then see what the results are.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. As I say, there is a 2-week trial period that people can download it. Now, it's recommended that if you have an Android tablet, that it should be version 6, which is Marshmallow and above. But I have an Android phone, and I will be doing a video tutorial, by the way, because people can listen to this interview and then they can have a look at the video of the Genius software on my phone. And I'm just going to do the basic stuff because I only know the basic stuff, but I can show them it working. Now, my Android phone is 5.1. I think that's Lollipop, and but it works on it. It works fine on the phone. It does what it needs to do on the phone. So although I know Ryan specified version 6 and yourself, Ariel, of Android, it's working on 5.1. As to the Apple iPad, well, we won't even go there. But apparently it does work on the Apple iPad as well. I don't know what version of OS on the Apple iPad. Ryan, do you have a minimum OS version for the Apple iPad?
Yeah,
anything from version 8.0 and above is fine.
Okay. Now, is there anything that people need to know? I mean, is there anything else that they need to know about the software? I know, Ariel, you said you've done a training and videos and stuff like that. So if somebody says, right, I've heard the interview, or I'm interested in this software, tell us what they need to do.
Well, they can either go to quantumhealthapps.com where they can download the trial. If they want to see some training videos, they can go to my website, which is awakentotalhealth.com, and you can just go Genius Training and see lots and lots of videos. They'll get video training when they download the trial automatically, and it's a discovery process. It's an empowerment process. We want to share as much of this as we can and have people experience it.
Brilliant. Okay. Now, I was, during the week, sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
No, I'm fine.
Oh, you're fine. Okay.
Hear me,
yeah, no, during the week now, I've seen a few people on Facebook making certain comments. And like anything, technology can be used for good, or it can be used for bad as well. And there's a couple of concerns that people had, which I want to address with you on the show to put their mind at ease, hopefully. And one of them was the fact that you're using frequencies on this software. And the concern was that frequencies can also be used to affect people, as I'm sure, if we can send frequencies over to heal somebody, you can send frequencies over to hurt somebody. It only makes sense. And the concern that people had on Facebook was that the Genius software could be used to control or manipulate somebody once they're in the database and you have the voice print. You want to comment on that?
I do actually. And, in all fairness, I'd probably say, they're right. The reality is, however, I think there's so much technology out there. Almost if you are using a cell phone, if you use a computer, if you use a remote control, there are so many different things that people can use to get access to you. However, what's important to us is that you need to look at the intent of the person that actually has this technology. To me, if you go to a hospital and you've got a nurse that is malicious, they can do malicious damage. And to me, a large part of it is, and I think something that we are very fortunate, is because we are involved with the holistic healing arts, the people that get involved, with this technology or with allopathic, medication or whatever it is, people are in it to try to make a difference, to try to actually help people. And that, to me, really goes about the intent of the user, the intent of the people that use this technology. And, maybe what I'm saying in some ways it might be controversial, but, the reality is, you can give somebody a stick. You can give somebody access to the internet or whatever it is. And if they have an intent to be malicious, they will figure out a way to be able to be malicious. Granted, we do have, some mechanisms in place in terms of the way we protect our customer database. Everything is stored on a server. It is 128-bit, secure encryption. It's certainly not going to be, easy for somebody to be able to hack into, etc. Secondly, built in with each and every one of the apps, we have a lot of, of sort of generic, balancing frequencies that are always running in the background. Those help to mitigate the harmful effects of electromagnetic, radiation, etc. Hope that answers your question. Hope it's not too controversial, but, that's a possibility, I guess.
Okay. Just being devil's advocate, could the software be actually hacked to be used in a negative way?
Well, I think, is there a possibility for that to happen? I'm sure there is, but, is there a possibility that, something else can be hacked? Yes. I would never say no to something along those lines, because, the reality is if somebody has malicious intent, they will not stop until they find a way to achieve what it is that they want to achieve. I think that's the harsh reality.
Yeah. And I'm not even saying about, your side. I'm talking about it could be an alphabet agency or somebody would get their hands on a copy of the software and re-engineer it for their own sinister benefits, unknowns to you guys. So, you could be an innocent party in it, and somebody, could do that. And it's not too far from the truth. I'm sure that's been done before.
Then again, I mean, look, in all honesty, I'd say let's say a government department, if they wanted to cause harm to people, they wouldn't have to get the software and reverse engineer it. If somebody wanted to harm us, who's higher up the food chain, they already have that technology.
Yeah, true, yeah.
So I don't think we need to be too concerned.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is what you said there, Ryan, as well, and I'll pick you up on there. That was the other concern that people had, was the software or the database and the frequencies of the people were on a cloud. Now, I know you said that you had 128 key encryption. Myself, being an IT person, I am not a fan of the cloud. I'm not a fan of storing personal information on the cloud. I just don't like that, because you're giving over access of your information. Now, again, although it's encrypted and on secure servers, nothing's infallible. And through the best will in the world, if you had an alphabet agency or somebody that wanted to break in, I'm sure they'd find a way to do it. So where if you have it on your local, now there is I understand the reason why you have it on the cloud, because if a phone gets stolen or breaks or something, then the information's gone. Then obviously if you have a backup, you can just resync your software. So there's pros and cons for both, and there's an argument for both. But what's your take on that, if they have concerns about that?
Alan, if I could just for 1 second and just sort of interject, I mean, this is has a potential for doing good in the world that I don't really spend a lot of time thinking about this one particular concern. There's so many other avenues for people who want to act maliciously or capture our information to act in such a way. I really prefer to focus on the potential for good and explaining the technology, because there is nothing like this. It's so special and has such potential to do good. But if you want to delete after you do a session, just delete your record. And that'll be deleted on the cloud as well, and then you'll have zero stored on the cloud. So if people are concerned about that, there are ways that they can avoid that. But from our perspective, we only want to keep that information safe for practitioners or people who want to go back and review the progress that they've made. And Ryan, I'm sorry if I interrupted you, but please go ahead.
No, it's fine. The only thing that I actually wanted to say is that the way we have it set up with the cloud, it's basically a sort of manual sync process. So in other words, once you've downloaded the software, which you obviously need access, to the internet to download the software, and once you have actually registered, all of your client data is actually stored locally on your device hard drive. You have to manually sync your device locally with the cloud in order for everything to be stored on the cloud. So it's not a sort of automated process, because obviously part of the design or the sort of technical design aspect is that we wanted this device to work totally offline. So what that means is that you do not need to be connected to the internet in order to be able to utilize the device on a sort of day-to-day basis. So the bottom line is all of your client information is stored locally on your actual device, and unless you manually select the ability to sync with the cloud, it actually won't happen.
Which is another good thing, because the fact that you can do it locally, myself and Steve, we don't connect to the internet on our phones, and you can run the app locally, because I've done it. So that's another plus point. Ariel, the two questions that I just said there are just concerns that I've seen during the week regarding the software. So being devil's advocate and putting the people's minds at rest, and for the people who are kind of trolls and shills who want to try and stir any issues with the software, we've just put that to bed. So that's really the reason why I asked them 2 questions, was to put them to bed. So with concerns and stuff like that, that's why I mentioned it. And, you know, at the end of the day, we know it's for for positivity and helping people and healing people, but you're always going to get your negativity, and they're the 2 main questions that we've seen during the week. So we've put that to bed. So that's where I'm coming from with that, Ariel.
Oh, of course, absolutely. I understand.
Now, we do have questions coming in from our chat room, so I'm going to pass you off to Steve. Steve.
Yeah, okay, where we go? We go with, Joan had a question earlier, and Joan is wondering, again, this is obviously for both of you. I'll throw it over to Ryan first and get his take, but Joan wants to know, what do your guests think of Dr. Jerry Tennant's work? He heals with voltage. Joan says every cell in the body is designed to run at 20 to 25 millivolts, and to heal we must make new cells. To make a new cell requires 50 millivolts. Chronic disease occurs when voltage drops below 20, and or you cannot achieve 50 millivolts to make new cells. That's a quote from Jerry Tennant.
I think, she has a really valuable point. I think, Jerry Tennant, first and foremost, I have a lot of respect for the technology that he has, for the work that he has done. But again, this sort of goes back to one of my original statements that I made. A lot of the technology, specifically the technology that Dr. Tennant works with, other technology like one-way rife, pulsed electromagnetic frequencies, it uses a very high voltage. It uses a lot of high sort of signals. Now, what that means is that the way those technology work is that it overrides the body's natural defense system. At a micro or at a cellular level, we have an electrical discharge in the small millivolts. They are almost negligible. That is the realm that we are working in. So we are trying to sort of work within a sort of cellular level at a very, very low voltage, at a very, very sort of low voltage. And we're trying to stimulate the body's own innate healing ability to work. What the technology like Dr. Tennant has, etc., is that they override the body's natural defense system. What they do in that instance is they sort of force the body into a response. So they force the body to sort of jump over the hurdle. Ours is completely different. We try to convince the body that it should jump over the hurdle naturally. The, Rife therapy, TENS therapy, scalar therapy, it says to the body, no, you will jump over the hurdle. It's a sort of complete different modality. It's a complete different theory. I'm certainly not here to dismiss Dr. Tennant's work, because the work that he's done with scalar is absolutely phenomenal, but it's just a completely different philosophy, completely different sort of modality about how we utilize, sort of digital medicine or, frequency medicine.
Yeah, just in relation to the scalar, I mean, that's something that we have used here for the past couple of years. We've been on training courses and we've learned about the scalar technology, and we've both used it with good effect. And I know you're saying it kind of forces the body into a response. But if you have, let's say, as an example, frozen shoulder. I had frozen shoulder. I was treated with scalar technology, and within minutes, I was back. The frozen shoulder had gone. How long would that take with the Genius software? If I was to run
that's a good question. I'll tell you what, that's a good question. And actually, let me ask you a sort of deeper question. The first thing to understand is your body will always want to go back to its natural state of rest. So in other words, let's say you've got, for example, frozen shoulder. Now, you go and have one scalar session and you're able to address the frozen shoulder. The chances are it's going to come back again and again and again, for the simple reason that if you try to force a response on the body is lazy. The body will always go back to what it is used to. It's going to go back to its sort of natural defense system. So the way our technology works is that instead of coming here for one session and, hey, guess what? We've got rid of your frozen shoulder. In my sense is that our technology would probably take, sort of 3, 4, 5 sessions. But there's a very big difference, because instead of trying to sort of make this big sort of 180-degree shift in one session, that philosophy doesn't really work with our technology. It doesn't really work in my mind logically as well, because if you make that sort of 180-degree, crossover, or that 180-degree shift, the chances are the body will always go back to how it was originally. So to me, I would rather with each session do a 5 or a 10 or a 15% improvement, because then I know whatever improvement that we've done, it's easier for the body to be able to hold on to that, to that sort of treatment. And as long as the body can hold on to that treatment, it's not going to be lazy, and it's not going to go back to its original state of discomfort, or state of, unrest, or whatever it may be.
Okay, well, that answers that. But again, it kind of brings on more questions. If using the SkiNAR technology, you'll kind of get instantaneous results, but you say it will return. But obviously with SkiNAR, I'm not promoting SkiNAR, I'm just trying to, kind of compare one to the other, because I know people out there are going to be wondering, because we have done shows in relation to SkiNAR as well. But if you have a couple of sessions with SkiNAR, then, as Alan said at the beginning, with Herring's Law, you heal kind of back in time. That's what was said on the training course, is that you will get instantaneous results with one treatment. But it will come back, and that's what it's like melting the ice cap. As soon as you melt the top of the ice cap, the rest of it will surface, and you have to melt that, and you have to kind of do it that way. So it too can be more than one session. You could have 3-4 sessions as well, and we can appreciate that. But the only thing about the SkiNAR, which we've said time and time again, is just for a small device to treat oneself, and it will set you back somewhere in the region of €600. Now, I know the Genius software for personal use will cost a few quid as well. But the only thing about your software, which I find fascinating, is that you have frequencies. You're adding frequencies on a daily, or a weekly, or a monthly basis for new conditions. And I have to say, your software will treat a lot of the ailments and conditions that the SkiNAR won't even recognize. It won't touch it, which it puts your software, kind of out in front of the SkiNAR.
I'd say in some ways yes, in some ways no, because the SkiNAR, it's got a very sort of specific protocol application. It is very good, sort of with sort of specific ailments within the body. I think one of the exciting things about let's call it computerized technology. What I enjoy about the apps that we have developed is that from a sort of visual perspective, it's actually helping the client, or it's helping the practitioner to really gain a sort of visual understanding about what is actually going on in the body. Because for one of the first times is that, we can look at charts, we can look at the numbers, and we can relate these numbers from a sort of visual perspective about what is actually going on in the client. So, for the first time, like, let's say as an example, we're in the chiropractic panel, or we're in the endocrine panel, or whatever it is. And we can show the client, say, look, if you have a look at this panel, you can see where you've got weak energy, you can see where you've got an excessive energy, you can see the imbalances. Now let's try to actually get this body back into balance. So now from the practitioner side, as well as from the client side, they can get a visual understanding about what is actually going on in their body. And in some ways, it actually makes the whole process so much more tangible, so much more sort of, visually attainable. In other words, let's say I say to you guys, okay, let's go back to sports again. Let's see if you guys can, jump this pole that's, 1 meter high. Okay, that's something that you can look at, you can visualize it. Okay, now let's see if we can jump it at, 1 meter 20 as an example. It's something which is it's sort of very linear. It's a visual. It's something that you can see. It's something that you need to attain. The problem with a lot of different sort of holistic healing modalities is that it's very difficult to get those sort of markers where you can look at, because the reality is, we want to help people. And if a client comes in, into me today and I say, hey, you know what, you're pretty healthy today, but I'm going to do this and do that, and then come back to me next week and I'll keep on doing this and sort of doing that. You don't really have sort of markers that you can work with. And to me, the technology, like the Genius side, is that you have markers that you can actually work with. You have markers that you can track over a period of time.
Okay. What would you say, again, this is a question, it's not my question, but it's me asking the question, but what would you say to alleviate people's minds who say that you're selling snake oil?
Well, what would I say to them? I'd say, well, it's a fair point. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But I will say a few things. Download the app. Try the app yourself. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, then, that's fine. To the best of my knowledge, and I do stand to be corrected on this, but there are very few companies out there in the sort of alternative healing realm that do 2 or 3 things that we do. The first thing that we do is that we offer a 15-day trial of our software. There's no other company that I know that sells this kind of assessment technology with a free trial. That's my first statement. The second statement is that we have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, again, I don't know of any company in this industry that offers a full 30-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. That's the second thing. The third thing that we actually offer as well, which was really prompted by my original entry into this industry, and that is, we've told a lot of our customers is that if you are thinking about buying another product of, let's say $15,000 or $20,000 or whatever it is, our proposal to them has been the following. Look, get this product first, try this product, and if you feel that you want to go ahead and spend, $15,000 because this product at $1,000 is not suitable or cannot provide you with what you need, we will deduct the cost. However much money you spend on our company, we will take that off the cost of that, $15,000 product. We've been offering this for now 5 or 6 years. I mean, from day one when we started, we have not had one person that's taken us up on that offer that has said, you know what? I've bought your product. It's not good enough. I'd rather go and spend $15,000 product, $15,000. So to me, those are the 3 things that it's something that we do, because we believe in our product. And I recognize, it's a very emerging field. There's a lot of gray areas. There's a lot of things that I still don't understand, and there's a lot of things that the technology still cannot do. I'm not certainly here to try to convince someone that, we're not selling snake oil. The only thing that I'm here to do is say, hey, it's a free trial. Download it, try it. If it works for you, fantastic. We've done our job. If it doesn't work for you, well, then you know what? Maybe you didn't attend the training. Maybe you don't buy into the concept about, energy medicine, etc. But, if we were selling snake oil and we were offering a 30-day money-back guarantee, I think we would have been out of business a hell of a long time ago.
Just, have you ever had someone download the software who contacted you afterwards and said they were a skeptic, they downloaded it, not expecting it to work, and then it worked? Have you had any of those?
I'm sure we have, but not sort of offhand. We've got a bunch of testimonials on our Facebook page, etc. We have a lot of people that that download the app and they're using it in a full-time practice, or they're using it on their clients, and they're raving about it. They're getting great results, etc. So to me, that's a good indication. Our 30-day refund policy. We've probably done maybe 5 or 10 refunds over the last 4 or 5 years. So to me, it's we spent a lot of time and a lot of money creating this. It's something that we're proud of. We've got a really good following of practitioners that believe in the technology. They are changing their clients' health on a sort of on a day-by-day basis by incorporating this into their existing modalities.
I'd like to really add something to that, Steve, and that is the real for anybody will be skeptical of this because nobody before really understood that this was possible. So yes, everybody's going to come at it from, wow, can we really do this? But one of my best experiences was going to a nutritionist convention where nobody did energy medicine, but everybody came and got a 15-minute scan. And by the end, people were talking about us out in the hall. Did you go get your scan? It was amazing. It matched what my chiropractor told me. It matched what my nutritionist told me. Matched what my naturopath told me. So it's really about the personal experience, which is why downloading the trial, give it a try. We have weekly free classes. People can learn about it. We have so many videos on YouTube. We just want to get the word out there, have people try it, and have their own experience.
Okay, thanks for that. Where to next? We have a question from Graham. Graham is wondering, does the technology come under the auspices of FDA or EPA regulation? Is Ryan allowed to make claims in reference to curing illness?
No, absolutely not. Certainly don't make any claims to curing anything. At the moment now, we are very blessed that the FDA does not regulate any biofeedback apps. So right now, it does not need to be regulated by the FDA. The reality is you've got two different kinds of, of the way you can play the biofeedback or the FDA game. The first thing is that you as a company can get established as a biofeedback manufacturer. It's a simple process. You go to the FDA, you tell them that you are a biofeedback manufacturer here in the US. You pay them money, they give you a little certificate, and then you agree to follow what's known as good manufacturing practices. And in doing that, you become an established biofeedback manufacturer. It's probably how 99% of these biofeedback companies claim that they are actually registered with the FDA. That's your one option. Your second option is that if you're more of a sort of medical device or a medical diagnostic device, there's something known as a 510K pre-market notification. And what that means is that you go to the FDA and you say, you know what, you've got a diagnostic device, it's based upon a similar device, and then you go through that whole process, and then you get what's known as a 510K. So those are within the FDA realm. At the moment now, biofeedback apps are not regulated by the FDA. Certainly, our app, it doesn't diagnose. It's only looking for, stress on the body. We certainly wouldn't make any claims about the app as well. And those people that use the app, the idea here is to get their body into natural state of balance and harmony. It's certainly not to, not to cure them or to provide them with a magic bullet.
Okay, so you're just kind of getting the body the way back into balance with nature, the way it should be. Okay, Chris said, question, I have plans to have a hip replacement this winter. Is this necessary, or can Ryan or Ariel offer an alternative to surgery?
I just want to keep emphasizing it's a new language, and it's really important to understand that this is something that helps to identify places where people could improve their flow and harmony, and does it in a way that it assesses the voice and it comes up with certain frequencies, subtle frequencies that will improve that communication, will improve that flow. As such, it's very likely that by using the program on a regular basis, because repetition really does help to build sort of a momentum, at least that's what I've seen, it will improve in some way. But what way, we don't know, and we certainly, again, we don't make any claims, so I wouldn't want somebody to hang their hat that this would be the magical cure for them. But if they try it, they'll develop their own relationship and know what their endpoints are, know where they can take the program, which could be quite miraculous.
Okay, that's a fair point. Okay, duly noted. Where to next? Tommy. Tommy says, please ask a question for me, please. I have had some therapy with Glenn Streeter and New Vision in the USA. Does the Genius software work or act in the same way?
My gosh. Glen Street is actually an old friend of mine. I'm going back 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Not too sure what the device is. I cannot comment. The only thing I can say is that there are many different devices. There's many different technologies out there. If it's the new vision, if it's the quantum this or the information this or this product. I mean, you are going to find many different devices, many different, modalities out there. I'm not here to say that the Genius Insight is better than everything else, because it's not. The Genius Insight, it just offers insight into the body in a different way. We're looking at the body through a sort of different lens. The reality is, if you go to, let's say, for example, a homeopath is going to look at you from a homeopathic perspective. If you go to a chiropractor, they'll look at you from the chiropractic perspective. What the Genius Insight does, it tries to combine all of these modalities into one simple system, because everyone's body is different. So, today I might need chiropractic, but, your other client might need a homeopathic approach. So what this technology does, it tries to bring all these modalities into one system to help the practitioner or to help the end user be able to have access to these different modalities. The reason being, everyone's body is different. Our body is changing all the time. Today we might need chiropractic. Tomorrow we might need nutrition. But I really cannot comment, specifically on, these other devices. The only thing I can say is that if you are exploring these different devices, I don't care if it's our device or Glen Streeter's device or Jerry Tennant's device. I think it's fantastic, because the more people that get turned onto these different devices with different possibilities, the more we can begin to actually take back our own health and take charge of our health instead of just giving away our power to everyone.
I think you're spot on there, Jerry, I'm saying, not Jerry, Ryan. No, I think that it is about taking back our own power, getting the power back into our hands. And I suppose no matter what road people go down, no matter what device they use, if they're not going to a GP who's not trained in health, and we can all agree on that, the GPs are not trained in health. They're drug pushers, I suppose, for want of a better word. But they don't know much about actual health, and it's all about getting the body back to basics and getting the body in balance. And I think no matter what people use, it's good that people are exploring different avenues and, not so much turning away from the doctors, but definitely, turning on to different ideas.
Absolutely. I'll tell you actually what, to me is sort of really encouraging is that, first and there's a place for allopathic medicine, and there's certainly a place for, alternative or complementary medicine. But to me, what's actually really exciting is that a lot of the medical doctors of today, the more progressive medical doctors, the integrative medical doctors, they are now beginning to look at alternative medicine as a valuable adjunct to their practice. And you know what? There's more and more medical doctors, there's more and more allopathic approaches that are beginning to look at holistic, integrative ways now than what there's ever been before. And to me, that is just, really, really encouraging. In all fairness, I don't know many alternative practitioners that are deciding to become a medical doctor, but the flip side is there's tons of medical doctors that are saying, hey, you know what? There's a lot to this energy medicine, and they're going away on these weekend courses and they're learning about chakras and meridians and acupuncture and acupressure and Reiki and everything else because, it's a new modality. It's something new. It's something exciting. And, so far the results have been very promising.
Now, I'd like to jump in and talk about some positives. I have my phone here beside me, and I have the software. I'm just going to boot up the software there. I believe there's an upload that I have to download. I'm not sure how to do it. It did come up there saying it should do an update, and then my phone, I realized my phone wasn't connected to the internet, and I activated it, and now the update is gone. But I'll have a play with that. But the positives with the Genius software, from my point of view, after having to play around with it, the fact that you can have this, whether it's, an Android or an iPhone, And once the software really works, obviously a tablet would be better because the screen is bigger. That's kind of the only reason. My phone screen is not bad, but it'd be better on a tablet. But the fact that I have this on my phone, and I could be out and I could be doing the school run or something like that, and while I'm waiting on my son to come out of school, I could have that in the car and I could go into the Genius software and I could do a scan on myself and go, okay, I need a bit of treatment, and then kick it off. That alone, for me, is fantastic. Now, there's other products out there. We've dealt with the Pain Genius, great. I can carry that around with me, and if there's a pain, I can treat myself. The Spooky 2, again, we got involved. We got talking about and found out about quantum entanglement when we started talking about the Spooky 2. But the problem with the Spooky 2, to be honest with you, is that you can't really carry it around. If I'm in the car waiting for somebody or I'm somewhere, I can't really set up the Spooky 2. It's not possible to do that. It's just be too awkward. The Genius software, you can have it on your phone or you have it on your tablet with you, and you can just kick it off. And it's only 15 minutes. It doesn't need to run for an hour or 2 hours. 15 minutes. I mean, that's the other beauty of it as well. The fact that you can kick it off and you can go off and do your washing, your ironing, or whatever you want to do your gardening, and come back. And that's the beauty of the whole quantum entanglement side and the benefit of the app. Now, what I'd like to see, well, I'll let you jump in there before I go on to one or two additions that I'd love to see. So, Brian or Ariel, if you want to jump in there.
You know what? I don't. I agree with you, and I thank you for that. And you know, really, the original premise behind this is to empower the end user that they can, balance themselves as and when they need to. So yeah, you know what? While you're driving, or maybe just before you're about to give a large presentation, and you have an issue about speaking in public, you can load the frequencies for speaking in public. It really is cool. So yes, nice, small, and portable, and easy to use.
Now,
I was going to say, like as you said, you can do it in the comfort of your own car, I suppose. So you don't actually have to remove any clothing to treat any particular area if it's an ache or a pain or something. I suppose that's a benefit too. I didn't actually know, Ryan, that if you were nervous about public speaking, that it could also be beneficial for that. I mean, geez, that's something that I suppose a lot of people could really benefit from, especially me in September. We're doing a talk. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give that a whirl.
We'll have to run the software on you. Sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
No, that's what I wanted to say.
Okay, now looking at the software, what I was thinking there, I know it's kind of the software is on an individual basis, or like Ariel, if she's in a practice, she can have a database of patients and she can run the program on each patient. And I was just thinking when we were talking about the functionality of it, and it might affect the price point. Obviously, I know that if you sell it individually per unit, it's more profit really for the business. But it would be great, like with my family and Steve's family, where we could add our family members into the database and go, right, I'm going to run automatically the treatment on a daily basis until I decide to stop it. So I could say, right, my partner and my son is in the database. I put a tick mark by their side, and I bypass the voice scan because the voice scan would have already been done, unless the voice scan is needed based on how they feel. I mean, do they need to keep doing a voice scan, or once it's done, it's done?
It's my preference, it's my suggestion that each time you're going to run an analysis, you should actually get a new voice sample, yes. Is it required? Some people choose not to, but I just feel that, it's another 2 or 3 minutes of your day, and I'm sure, you should just be able to find the time to be able to do that.
But how does that work if the person's not beside you or the person's not with you and you want to run a scan on them?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, look, if they're obviously not there, I mean, there's not really much that you can do. I mean, we do have the ability where you can where they can actually email you an audio file and then you can upload it for the analysis. But I think, what's sort of first and foremost to look at here, and this is an age-old thing, and it's an issue that I've found across all these different devices, is that, so many of us, we want to try to find the shortcut to everything. We live in a sort of ADD society. Everything is about instant gratification. Everything is about having answers, right here, right now. And in the same way, many practitioners choose just to bypass the voice file or the voice recording, even if the client is with them in the office. Now, as far as I'm concerned, it's, it's an extra 15 or 20 seconds of your time. Rather take that time and take a breath, and get more updated information. And that, it's my personal preference. Some people disagree with me, which is fine, and some people do it in another way, which is fine. But, to me, we designed it to be able to analyze the voice. So, hey, if somebody's in front of you and you can record a new voice sample, then record the new voice sample. If they're away or you can't get in touch with them and you want to analyze them, then you can't do it, but do the next best thing. See if you can upload a new picture or whatever it is. And to me, it's such a sort of negligible amount of time, but I don't know. We always want to, skip and sort of take the shortcut.
I just think, people being people, they probably would get, in all honesty, they probably get fed up every time to do a voice analysis, to do a scan. That's what I suppose, if they had it on their own phone or their own tablet and they could do that themselves. But I can see if I was going up to my partner every time I wanted the scanner to say, no, you're going to have to do this, she's just going to say, right, I'm getting fed up with this. And that's why I was thinking about the whole automatic thing, that when the voice print is done. Now, I know I said earlier, our bodies change on a daily, if not on an hourly, on a per minute basis. Their cells change all the time. So it would benefit doing the fresh scan and getting treated of the way you feel at that moment. But a lot of the time it's not possible for some people. And I just thought it'd be nice if that you had your family in the database and you could just run a scan on them on a daily basis, and they can just, go on and do what they need to do. But I suppose, as you say, everybody wants the quick pill, don't they? And it's the quick fix.
Absolutely. In many ways, I want the quick fix as well. So, I'm in support of that. I'm sort of ADD central myself. But you know what? It's a loaded question, loaded statement. So.
Yeah, Ariel.
Yeah, I've used this software that Ryan's developed in this form and in its previous form, now going on 5 years. I can tell you that if you skip the voice, because it's a quantum biofeedback tool, because it's quantum entanglement, you're still going to access that person. It's still going to work, so to speak. You're just increasing the level of information and therefore a certain level of clarity by getting the voice each time. But if you want to work on anyone in your family, you can skip the voice. You're still going into the quantum field where they can be accessed anywhere at any time. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. You want to develop your own relationship with the program. People are doing things with this that are, quite extraordinary in ways that we didn't imagine. So develop your own relationship with it. That's what's really important.
Yeah, well, I totally agree. I think the idea of having the program on your phone or tablet and just the flexibility where you could sit down or if you're doing something and you can just, do your quick scan, do your voice analysis and then run the scan and walk away and do what you need to do. And the system's there and it's subtly taking care of you and the preventative maintenance on your body. Again, I kind of relate it in somewhat to the tricorder on Star Trek, being a bit of a Trekkie. But that's what it's like. And all these kind of energy modalities that are coming out, all these technologies that are coming out that are fantastic. It's great to see them. And because I still kind of refer to the medical system as 19th century because they're still using 19th century methods when we have all this technology available for people to use. And you see it time and time again posted on Facebook and stuff like that. People suffering from certain conditions. And you think, if they had X, Y, and Z, they wouldn't need to go and get that treatment. And that's the shame. So trying to wake people up, and this is what we're trying to do on OYM, is to try to educate people regarding these technologies, to say they are out there, and as you say, the genius is out there, the software is there. If people want to try it, you just download it. Is there any kind of pre-sale support that people can get if they download it and you have any problems? You know, some people are not technical, you know?
No, you know what? We just get them to download it, and it's really up to them. We don't return their calls. We don't respond to them at all. No, absolutely not. I'm only joking. You know what? Look, probably 80% of our sales are through word of mouth referrals. We have a large network database of, different affiliates, etc. And the reason why we have that, and the reason why I'm actually sharing that with you, is because the reality is, it's imperative for us to make sure that with each download, people understand the technology, because, it's one thing to download a piece of software, but that is not going to help our business grow. But by helping somebody understand the benefit of the technology, how the technology works, and how they can actually utilize it, because at the end of the day, the more successful they are, either on themselves or their friends or their family or in a sort of clinical environment, that's good for them. The spin-off for us is that they end up becoming a cheerleader for us, and then they join our affiliate, and then they start referring sales to us. It's a very simple business model that we've got. It's something that we set up from day one. As a prime example, today's Sunday, we're busy doing a call. We're busy supporting our product. We have instant chat services. We've got so much available. People just need to call us and sort of reach out, and we're always available. If we're not available, we'll certainly communicate. But the idea here is to give them all the tools that they need to be as successful as they can be.
No, that's fine. We have more questions for you there, Steve.
Yes, we do. We have a question from Fairport on People's Internet Radio. He wants to know if he downloads the trial app, will it run on the Linux operating system?
No, it will not.
No. There's the crickets. Must be time for bed.
Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly and the crickets. Joan says, my sister has cancer second time around, so they say. Would this be good for her?
First and foremost, we don't, let me actually answer that with a statement. You see, this is purely my opinion here. So before I go ahead and make a statement, I think first and foremost, when people get these different diagnoses, that is almost the sort of death sentence unto itself. This technology is not designed to treat cancer. It's not designed to treat anything. However, what all of these diseases are is that they just imbalances in the body. So to me, as far as I'm concerned, is that if we are using the Genius Insight or any other technology just to get the body back into balance, once the body's in balance, it's in sort of perfect health. Once the body's in perfect health, it shouldn't really have cancer, it shouldn't really have back pain or emotional instability or whatever it is. So the short answer is, if she has cancer, can this device help? Sadly, no, because we don't deal with specific diseases. However, utilizing a tool like this can help get the body back into balance. And to me, as long as you get the body back into balance, you are on the road. You are pointing in the right direction. And then it's just a case of, constant sort of maintenance and keeping going in the right direction. If that answers your question.
Brilliant stuff.
I think it does, absolutely.
I think people need to make sure that, just to understand the Genius software, it's like, the old saying, an apple a day, not an Apple iPad, but an apple a day keeps the doctor away. And the Genius is really just about keeping a balance with your health and doing general maintenance, scanning your body. And it's not a cure-all for everything. It's basically just a kind of maintenance, and I think that would be fair enough to say that, Ariel.
Sure. Yeah, you're improving. You're identifying places where there are blockages, and you're opening up the energy, and you're creating flow. The trajectory of the allopathic system has been to describe therapies which are outside of yourself, which are exclusive, which are patented, which are very expensive. But this is something that helps you to access something that's within yourself. And it's just a catalyst for you to get there. It's an aid. It's a facilitator for you to get to that place of healing yourself. And from that perspective, I think it does a very good job.
Yeah. No, that's, as I say, I'm impressed with the fact that it's so easy and it's portable and you can just treat yourself. I mean, that is the winner for me. Now, I know people are going to be asking, when they've heard all this information on the show tonight, and they're going, this product sounds brilliant, I'd like to try it, and if I like it, I want to buy it. Now, you did say that the technology out there, some of the technology is like around 15, 20 grand, which is impossible for a lot of people. And you've brought this down to a scale that is manageable and affordable for people. Not everybody, I have to say, but do you want to give people an idea of your pricing structure, or what they will expect to pay for the software, so they know, because that's going to be the next question.
Yeah, sure. So the basic price point, it's just under $1,000. We have, flexible payment flexible payment plans over a 6-month process as well. But first and foremost, I think, is to download the app and to experience the free trial. Now, over and above that, I mean, we've got packages that go up to about $1,800 or $2,000 or even sort of $3,000 when you begin to get a bit more creative and we have more customized items that we begin to, add into the package. But for me, for under $1,000, you can get your foot in the door. You can try a product out. You get a 30-day money back guarantee as well, which is always a bonus. You can do a 6-month payment plan as well, which is even better. And then we have, various apps and various promotional items that we will actually incentivize for you. And I think, Ariel, maybe what we can do is that anyone that's actually listening on this call, we could have, if they either contact you or ourselves, what we will do is actually gift you a free mystery app. So in other words, as long as, when you download the app or you complete a form on Ariel's website or our website, just say, hey, I listened to this on OYM radio. What we will do is that we will gift you a free mystery app. Haven't decided what that app is, but either way, it'll be an app that you will not have to pay for it, just as a courtesy for actually listening to this, and as a way for us to say, hey, you know what, welcome aboard, thank you, and enjoy our products.
Brilliant. That's much appreciated, Ryan. That's fantastic. So, listeners, if you are interested and you want to look into the Genius software, just mention OYM if you when you send the email over. And you'll get a mystery up there from Ryan. Well, it's been fantastic information, I have to say. Again, I'll just say, I just like the idea, the convenience that it's mobile and it just runs for 15 minutes and it's got general maintenance on your body, because nobody likes going to the doctor and nobody likes going into the hospital. And as Dr. Rima, not Dr. Rima, Dr. Lorraine Day, when she come on the show, she said doctors are only good for 2 things, writing prescriptions and taking body parts out. And if you can do preventative maintenance and take control of your own health by using an app or using some energy device, then happy days, because you don't want to end up, you go in the hospital and come out even worse. And some people don't even come out when they go in. So I am a big believer of preventing the maintenance, and I love the flexibility and the mobility of this device that you can bring around with you.
Yeah, do you know, the funny thing is that people, a lot of people, they don't wait until their car breaks down to bring it to a mechanic. Some people will service their car regular. Like, they'll change the oil, they'll change the spark plugs, they'll do routine maintenance to keep their car running before it develops any serious problems. But they don't do it with their bodies. Yeah.
Unbelievable. They spend all the money on the car. And it's important that we do it. And the fact is that when you have the app, if you have a family, you can add your family members to the actual app, and then you can be scanning them as well. So it's not just for the person, but the whole family, or the extended family, you could do that as well and have a database of all the family and run it. So that's the benefit. So you could be treating everybody, not just yourself. And that's another great thing that's great about it. So what can I say? Fantastic information.
Oh, great stuff. Well, I've really enjoyed being on the call, guys, so thank you so much.
Brilliant. Well, listen, yeah, we've got to that time. Brilliant information regarding the software. Again, a big thank you, Ariel, for coming on and actually hooking up with me before. Myself and Ariel hooked up, and Ariel gave me some background training on the Genius and talked to me about it, just to speed up my learning process with it. So, Ariel, I really appreciate that. Thanks for hooking up and doing that.
Oh,
and
a pleasure.
And Ryan, thanks a lot for coming on, being the developer of the app and talking to us about it. I'm going to pass you over to Steve. Steve's going to get all your details where people can find out about yourselves and the Genius app, and they'll be able to track you down. Steve.
Track you down. Okay, we have quantumhealthapps.com. The links that Ariel gave us earlier on, www.quantumhealthapps.com. And we also have awakentohealth.com as well.
Oh, Awaken to Total Health. It's total. Awaken to Total Health. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Just want to get people in the right place. Yeah.
You're right, Ariel. It is. I actually have it down here. Awakentotalhealth.com. I just read it wrong.
You know what that reminds me of? Where the guy is actually doing the lettering on the office door, and he has Psycho the rapist. And the guy starts putting his hair out. It's psychotherapist.
Okay. Right. Okay. So we have those two links anyway. I will pop them up. I popped them up in the chat earlier on. I will pop them up just before we close. We'll go to Ariel first. Ariel, is there any other links that you want to throw out there, or anything you just want to say in closing?
Just thanks for, letting us introduce the software. There was a moment of awakening personally for me using it for the first time, where it was like, oh my gosh, we finally caught up technology-wise to where we need to be. It was a fascinating and empowering experience. I think I scanned myself about, 100 times the first day. So I hope other people have that sense of awakening and empowerment and discovery for themselves.
Well, once they download the trial app, everyone will have a chance to do that. So let's hope they do. If you're listening to the program, either live or on the podcast, do go over to quantumhealingapps.com or awakentotalhealth.com. Check out the information and check out the apps. Over to Ryan. Ryan, have you any more links that you want to throw out there, or any closing statements?
No, you know what? No, I mean, certainly thank you very much for giving us the time. It's been great. But no, I think we've covered everything. And those of you that are in a position, if you have an app, if you have a mobile device, and if you want to learn something new, you've got nothing to lose but everything to gain. So, no, life is peachy. And thank you so much.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, Ariel and Ryan, just stay with us there. By the way, happy birthday for Tuesday anyway.
Thank you so much.
We'll ring you about 2 a.m. on Tuesday.
And play the music.
Yeah, no, please definitely do that. Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
just forward that straight to Ariel. Actually, I've got a direct home now.
All right, just stay with us there, folks. We're just going to go off to a musical break. We'll be back after this.
This is Open Your Mind Radio on OYMradio.com and peoplesinternetradio.com.
And we're back. Sorry if I put anybody asleep there. That was a Journey and Open Arms.
It's our anniversary. We were dancing around the studio.
Slowly, yeah.
Slow dancing.
Hang on, that brings up all sorts of images. We were slow dancing in the studio. No, we weren't.
No.
Anyway,
yeah, that was supposed to be a different song, wasn't it?
Yes, I should have just speeded it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So there you go, folks. There's the Genius software. Again, it's not the cheapest, and I know money's tight with everybody. Ariel did say they have a payment system where you can pay like perpetual licensing and pay it on a monthly basis rather than fork out the big sum of money. And they have different payment plans there as well. I just like the idea that it's just portable and you can bring it around with you. You can scan your body and then you can treat your body, and it's 15 minutes. And you'll hear the frequencies going up and down on it. Now, I will do a video demo to show you it working, what's involved, like I did with the Spooky. I'll do the same thing with Genius. That's why we do these things, so you can see it and get our point of view from using it. It's still in development. The updates, I've downloaded the updates. There's a couple of things that need to be done on the updates. I'll touch base with Ryan and Ariel on that. But we'll just give it a go. I have used it and I've tried it. I've scanned other people as well just to show them how it works. But what we'll do is I'll use it and, keep trying it and see how we get on. But it's all about, as Steve said with the car, it's all about preventative maintenance. It's a subtle thing. It's not, going in there like with the jackhammer and attacking the problem straight away. It's more kind of just generally, taking care of your car, and that's really it. That's really what the software is anyway. So, but yeah, I'd recommend, again, I know earlier on in the show we talked about Apple and we talked about the iPad, and I would just say to people again, if you're going to, the Android tablets are much cheaper than the Apple iPads. Why people would spend hundreds of pounds, hundreds of euros on an Apple iPad when the Android tablet will do near enough everything that the iPad can do? I don't know. Maybe it's an image thing. I don't know, but but just make sure that if you are going down the road or you want to test the Genius software, that you're running version 6. Now, my phone is 5.1 Android, and it does work on it, but it would be better if you're running version 6. And you can get tablets out there now that are running Marshmallow version 6. That's the important thing.
That's because you're rich. My phone is running that Android version 1.
I'm so rich I had to put it on my 5.1 phone because I can't afford a 6 tablet. That's why I put it on there, because I said, well, I can't afford to buy a tablet, so we put it on the phone and see if it works, and if it does, great. If it doesn't, then
wouldn't work on my phone, but hey.
You're version 4, I think, aren't you?
I haven't a clue. Version 2 or version 1, whatever. So it's an old phone anyway, 7 or 8 years old. But as you know, it's never in my hand anyway.
No, it's definitely not. It's always somewhere where you can't hear it.
Yes.
Now, next week, our guest is Jeff Berwick from the Dollar Vigilante. And thanks to a listener just to remind us about asking Jeff to come on. Last year, we did send an email to Jeff and we asked him to come on the show. We never got an email back. Maybe he didn't receive it. You know the way things work. But this time when we did email him, maybe the universe was in tune with us and he got straight back to us and said, yeah, look, guys, no problem at all. We'll come on your show and we'll have a chat. So Jeff will be on next week. And there's another chap that's, he's a kind of climate change expert and he knows what's going on. And we emailed him today and hopefully he'll come on the show and chat to us about what's going on, because obviously, you'd want to bury your head in the sand to not see what's going on globally. All the changing in weather patterns and weather conditions and things going on. There's something brewing. I don't know what it is, but there's something brewing.
It's not the coffee anyway.
Not the coffee. So we've asked him to come on to talk about what he feels is going on, and he's aware of the bigger picture and the New World Order and the whole kind of carbon tax and all that kind of stuff. He's aware of all that stuff. So we'll bring him on if he emails us back, and we'll have a chat with him. There is another guest as well that we're going to hopefully hook up with during the week, and he's going to be talking about the APRS system. Whether we bring him on the show or not, I don't know. We have to talk to him during the week and see what the story is with it. We talked about an alternative communication system. Now, we did, if you haven't seen it, go on our YouTube channel and you'll see that I did a tutorial for the CB radio, the basics. I did it last Monday after the show last week. So if you haven't seen it, pop over to our YouTube channel. You'll see I did a tutorial all about CB radio, and that's up there. And then I put a video up today as well, showing some kind of craft in Antarctica. Now, using Google Earth, I drilled down to this location in Antarctica and I showed you the photo on it. And now, is it a craft? Is it photoshopped? Why are they letting us see it? I don't know. But if you pop over to our YouTube channel and you'll actually see me drill down on Google Earth. And you can all do it. Just download Google Earth and go to the location I went to and you'll actually see the photo there. And it's a bit,
Looks like the back wheel of a DeLorean.
Well, yeah.
That's what I thought.
A bit more advanced than a wheel, I'd say.
Okay, like what? It was round and it had spokes.
Yeah. No, it looked a bit more advanced. Anyway, so that's the story there. Now, I'm going to read out the short information, Steve, if you want to take the long information, Kerry Cassidy and Maria Wheatley are doing an ancient site tour 2 days before the Basis conference on the 13th and 14th. If you want to find out more about it, go over to Project Camelot portal.com/events, and you can actually book tickets there if you want to be involved in the ancient site tour. And Steve's going to tell us about the Basis conference.
I am indeed. Yet the Ireland Awakens conference is in conjunction with Miles Johnson's Basis project. It's taking place at the Talbot Hotel, Stillorgan, on the weekend of Friday, Saturday and Sunday. That's the 15th, 16th and 17th of September. This 3-day event will comprise of 16 national and international speakers covering a wide range of subjects from UFOs, alien abductions, controlled remote viewing, sacred sites, the elite, mind control, ritual child abuse and many more. One of the main reasons for the conference is to get an up-to-the-minute new information from an Irish perspective and get that information into the public domain. We're also very excited that as well as Miles Johnson speaking here in Ireland for the very first time in many years, Kerry Cassidy from Project Camelot will also be giving a presentation on both Saturday and Sunday. And we will be there as well on the Saturday. We did contact Miles Johnson and ask him could he maybe just jump on for a few minutes just to give the event a plug, but he was actually in transit at the time, so he does send his apologies. We may have him on at a later date. Yeah,
we'll try and get him on. Now, very quickly, talking about bartering, right?
Yes.
Talking about bartering, right? On Friday...
You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours.
On Friday, went down to the local off licence and they were doing a fantastic... they were doing a fantastic deal on lager. So I got 2 crates of lager, and on the way home I pulled in to get petrol. And in front of me was this blonde, very voluptuous blonde, right?
I think I know her,
petrol in, yeah. Right? And she noticed I had the lager in the back of the car. So she come over to me and she said that I'm a big believer of bartering. And I said, are you? And she said, I am.
Oh, where's this going?
She said, how about some sex for some lager? Right? And I said, no problem at all. What lager do you have? Right, and on that note, we let you go. Have a great week. Take care. Stay safe. We'll see you next week. Alan James, bye-bye.
Alan James signing off. 10-4, good buddy. Okay, we'll do it again next week. We'll be here from 7 to 9 p.m. in the GMT. Thanks for everyone who joined us this evening. Thanks to our guests. Thanks to everyone in both of the chat rooms who listened to us for the past 2 hours. We hope we didn't bore you too much. Stay tuned. We're going to leave you right here, exit stage left. Vin is up next on People's Internet Radio at 9 bells, so stay tuned for Vin. And that's it. We'll see you again next week. Until then, take care. Bye bye.